Today, I want to talk about how the shorts are finally snitching on Ken Griffin and other short sellers and market makers, and how the SEC is actually going after them with prison time as well. So stay tuned and let's make some money. Later in the video, I want to touch on how the Millionaire Mindset Trading Group made a 152% gain on GNPX and how tons of members in the group made thousands of dollars in the process. And also guys, remember you can still use code FLASH at checkout for $100 off the price of the lifetime membership or 25% off the monthly membership. But first, let's dive straight in with the key information and first touch on something to cheer us all up. Somebody asked Charles Payne what he thinks about AMC, and Charles Payne said that he is still holding. Charles Payne clearly thinks there's still potential in AMC and for the price of AMC stock to go up, otherwise he wouldn't still be holding his shares. And if Charles Payne is still in, well, I'm still in as well. Now, Ryan Rigg also tweeted about how someone out there has been slowly accumulating tons of AMC call options, specifically the $10 call options for March. He said these are currently 135% out of the money with an IV of 108%, but the first big entry took 4,000 contracts all at the same time for $165,000. That same buyer then purchased another 1,800 contracts on Monday for another $50,000. Someone out there has $250,000 bet on an upside move for AMC, a massive upside move, before March 21st, 2025. As I always say, somebody out there always knows something, especially if it's a big player with a lot of money to throw around, they tend to be right. Now, to get it clear, this isn't me telling you to go and buy AMC call options. In fact, it's actually me telling you right now just to sit on your hands and watch to see what happens between now and March 31st. Call options are a very short-term bet on something happening by a certain date. And of course, there's no guarantee the stock price moves in that specific timeline. I don't know if the squeeze is going to happen tomorrow or next week or by March 31st, maybe before then or maybe after then. The safer way to play a short squeeze is by doing what everyone else has been doing so far, and is by buying and just holding shares. Because buying call options with a specific set end date can actually end you up like this individual investor, who ended up losing $250,000, actually slightly over $250,000 on GameStop call options. This individual had around $275,000 on GameStop $20 calls expiring 18th of October. Had this investor just purchased the shares itself, these shares wouldn't have expired and he'd still be holding all of those GameStop shares. But now let's dive into the meat and potatoes of today's video and talk about how these shorts are snitching on Ken Griffin, other short sellers and market makers. Well, you can see the SEC has just filed a securities fraud lawsuit against Ryan Choi of Citron Research, claiming he was involved in supporting Andrew Left's fraud actions. Now, that associate has just made a deal with the SEC that may threaten Andrew Left and his short selling practice. Now, let's remember, Andrew Left has already been charged with multiple counts of fraud, and maybe his associate is just about to make his sentencing even worse. So let's talk about what kind of deal this associate made with the SEC, what kind of punishment he's facing, and how that impacts Ken Griffin, other short sellers, and other market makers. So one of Andrew Left's close associates has just settled his SEC claim about his role in preparing tweets that misled investors. So Ryan Choi agreed to return $1.6 million he illegally made by trading around Andrew Left's tweets about two target companies that Ryan helped research. Ryan Choi also agreed to pay a civil penalty of $115,000, said the SEC. Now, there's a few things here that instantly jump out at me as being very, very interesting. Firstly, Ryan Choi was not charged with fraud and will not be sentenced to prison time. That means he obviously snitched, helping the SEC charge Andrew Left, a bigger fish, with fraud and prison time as well. So that shows us a clear hierarchy of the smaller guys snitching on the bigger fishes and the bigger fishes actually being charged with fraud. It also shows that Ryan Choi agreed to return every single penny he illegally made. It's not just a $115,000 fine and go on your merry way, it's a $115,000 fine and actually repay every single cent you made illegally. All we need now is for Andrew to snitch on someone bigger than him, and they'll also have to repay every single cent they've made illegally and will also be facing prison time as well. Now, as I touched on earlier, tons of people in the group played GNPX with me, where I told the group that I was buying GNPX if it can get the 81 cent breakout. GNPX broke 81 cents at the market open and ran all the way to $2 per share. We can see Snowbird made a $944 gain, Dill made over $3,000, No Ketchup brought in at 83 cents and sold at $1.15, and Arif made over $250 as well. I also made a full video going through GNPX and a bunch of other trades we've taken in the Millionaire Mindset Trading Group on the new YouTube channel, which I've linked down in the description below and as the top pinned comment. If you are interested in trading other stocks, if you are interested in joining the Millionaire Mindset Trading Group, be sure to check out this other YouTube channel, subscribe, ding the notification bell, and check out some of the videos. And also guys, remember you can currently use code FLASH at the checkout for $100 off the price of the lifetime membership or 25% off the monthly membership. Now on top of that, there's also other short sellers out there that have been making false reports about specific companies in order to move the price and then trading upon those false reports. That's exactly what Andrew Left is being banged up in prison for. It's releasing reports about companies which he knows could manipulate the price of that security and then trading on that manipulated price. And of course, those other short sellers have been running a targeted campaign against AMC and GameStop for years now. Many of these mainstream media outlets have been posting not just FUD articles, but often completely false articles about AMC and GameStop. And of course, many of these mainstream media platforms are owned and controlled by hedge funds and market makers like Citadel, Virtue, and other short sellers. Obviously, I'm not going to go through this full article in depth, but I will leave a link to the article down below. Although I'm sure the article is just going to tell us things we already know and have known over the last few years. And it seems that even Ken Griffin knows that the walls are closing in for him, as he's just bailed out of a property for a massive discount in order to hide more of his money. We can see that billionaire Ken Griffin has just dumped his luxury Chicago penthouse for $11 million, half of what he paid for it back in 2017. Now this is a really interesting move. Yes, we have a commercial real estate crisis, but this isn't commercial real estate. This is residential real estate. Any person in their right mind would be selling a property right now for more than they paid for it back in 2017, but it seems Ken Griffin just wants to dump it for half. The reason why is because Ken Griffin has moved to Florida, and if you didn't know, there's a law in Florida that states in the event of criminal prosecution, real estate cannot be confiscated. Ken Griffin has been pouring hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, into Floridian real estate in order to circumvent that law. Ken Griffin knows that if Citadel gets shut down, if he ends up going to prison, that his money is still safe and that his money is still hidden. And perfectly timed, Wes Christian has just filed a $700 million lawsuit against a number of market makers. So Wes Christian's law firm, in conjunction with another law firm and forensic investigators, have uncovered evidence of a potential multi-year market manipulation scheme that's caused substantial damages to an individual company and its shareholders. And Quantum Biopharma QNTM has just filed a US federal lawsuit against CIBC World Markets, RBC Dominion Securities, and others, seeking damages in excess of $700 million. So this is going to be another opportunity for those smaller fishes to snitch on those bigger fishes and market makers for illegal manipulation and spoofing. So guys, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always guys, be sure to ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.